Hello friends, I hope you all are fine. Continuing with the topic of reciprocating air compressors, in this lecture I am going to discuss with you few numericals based on this chapter. We'll be discussing the technique used to solve these numericals, and we'll be trying to solve these numericals. So let's say this first statement. It reads a reciprocating air compressor has a cylinder with 24 centimeter bore and 36 centimeter stroke. So the cylinder dimensions are 36 centimeter its diameter and 36 centimeter the stroke length. Now the compressor admits air at 1 bar 17 degrees centigrade and compresses up to 6 bar. So inlet air conditions are 1 bar and 17 degrees centigrade, and the higher pressure the air is compressed up to 6 bar, right? The compressor runs at 120 rpm. Considering the compressor to be single acting and single stage, determine the mean effective pressure and the horsepower required to run the compressor when it compresses following the isothermal process and polytropic process with an index of 1.3. Also find the isothermal efficiency when compression is of polytropic and adiabatic type. So in this question, in this numerical, we need to find out the mean effective pressure and the horsepower required, and we need to find out the isothermal efficiency. Now in previous lectures we have discussed the various expressions for determining the work done. Either it is a case of an isothermal compression, or it is an polytropic compression, or it can be an adiabatic compression. In the last lecture we discussed the expression of work done for these three types of compressions, right? Now the mean effective pressure is a parameter which indicates the average pressure throughout the cycle, and mathematically it is work done per cycle by stroke volume. So if we know the expression for work done and we know the stroke volume, we can easily find out the mean effective pressure. Now let's see how to solve this numerical. We are given with the compression ratio, we are given with a higher pressure P2 and lower pressure was higher pressure was 6 bar and lower pressure was 1 bar, so the compression ratio will be 6 and it is represented by small r. Now from the cylinder dimensions, the stroke volume can be calculated. It is pi by 4 d square into L. The expression for volume of the cylinder, pi by 4 d square into L. Now it was given in centimeters and it has been converted into meters, and similarly the stroke length is converted into meters. So we can get this much stroke volume, that this much is the volume covered by piston in one stroke, right? Now the volume of air compressed per minute, it will be equal to this much volume into number of rpm. Now in case of single stage reciprocating pump, this number of revolutions are equal to the number of strokes, right? But in case of double acting, we have seen that in one revolution on both the sides, because the air is present in case of the double acting reciprocating pump, air is present on both the sides. So if it would have been double acting, here we will be multiplying with 2, right? But it is single stage, so in one revolution it is giving only one stroke. Double acting gives 2 strokes for per revolution, so it is single stage, so we'll be considering this much stroke volume into 120 rpm. So this much will be the volume of air compressed per minute, right? Now neglecting the clearest volume worked in isothermal process, it is given by P1 V1 log natural R. We have discussed this expression in the previous lecture. Now the mean effective pressure in isothermal process would be, as we had discussed the expression for that mean effective pressure, it is work done by stroke volume. So it will be cancelled out and we can get P1 log natural R, and putting those values we can get this value equal to 179.18 kilopascal, right? Moving on further, for polytropic process, we know this is the expression we have derived in the last lecture, work done for a polytropic process. Now the value of n in this case is 1.3 as given in the question, and we can either initially find out the work done, or we can directly use this expression and divide it with V1 to find out the mean effective pressure, because we are required to find out the mean effective pressure only for this, right? So using this expression we can find out the mean effective pressure, and putting those values, P2 by P1 is given 6 and is given as 1.3, right? And P1 is 1 bar, so we'll be converting it into kilopascal, you can say. Yeah. So 1.3 and the value of n is 1.3, and this will be the value of mean effective pressure considering the process to be polytropic. So 221.89 kilopascal would be the answer. Similarly, the work done in adiabatic process in case of n will be using the value of gamma, and gamma for air is 1.4. So we can use this expression, and the mean effective pressure will be work done upon the stroke volume. So mean effective pressure can be calculated by using this expression. Instead of n, we'll be using gamma because it is an adiabatic process, right? So mean effective pressure for adiabatic is, it comes out to be 233.98 kilopascal. Now the horsepower required for isothermal process. How we can determine the horsepower? Horsepower will be work done per unit time, and because it is horsepower, so we will be dividing it with the conversion factor of this, that 1 horsepower is equal to 0.7457 kilowatt. So mean effective pressure into volume, it will give us the work done per minute. So divided with 60, we can get the value of power, and further dividing with 0.745 kilowatt, will be getting the expression in terms of horsepower, right? So mean effective pressure for isothermal process, we have determined the mean effective pressure for isothermal process, and it was 179.18, so we'll be using that value. So 179.18 volume per minute, we have discussed this expression also. The volume of air per minute, 1.954, right, divided by the conversion factor of horsepower and divided by 60 because it is per minute, so we'll be getting in watts, right? Similarly, the horsepower required for polytropic, the mean effective pressure for polytropic, then volume per minute, and this will be the value for horsepower required for polytropic process. And in case of adiabatic, similarly we can find out the horsepower required for adiabatic process. It comes out to be 10.22. So we can see the maximum horsepower requirement is in the case of adiabatic process, that is 10.22, and a minimum horsepower requirement is in the case of 7.825. And as we discussed in the previous lecture, that the work requirement in case of isothermal process is minimum. So this also illustrates that same quotation, that same statement. So the isothermal efficiency, now it is the isothermal process power required by the actual power required. So if the process is considered to be polytropic, so HP isothermal by HP polytropic, so it comes out to be 80.75%. And in case of adiabatic, HP adiabatic by HP, it would have been HP isothermal by HP adiabatic. So please correct this expression. It is HP isothermal by HP adiabatic. So 7.825 by 10.22, and it comes out to be 76.57%. So this is the solution for first numerical, that the mean effective pressure for isothermal process, for polytropic process, and the horsepower required for isothermal process and for polytropic process, and the isothermal efficiency for polytropic and adiabatic processes. So here we complete the first numerical. Now let's see the next statement. A reciprocating compressor of single stage double acting. Now you need to take care that it is a double acting type reciprocating pump, and it delivers 20 meter cube per minute when measured at free air conditions of 1 bar and 27 degrees centigrade. So this volume delivered has been measured at free air conditions. The compressor has compression ratio of 7, and the conditions at the end of suction are 0.97 bar and 35 degrees centigrade. Compressor runs at 240 rpm with clearance volume of 5% of swept volume. So this numerical includes the clearance volume too. The L by D ratio is 1.2. So L by D is the length by diameter ratio of cylinder, 1.2. Determine the volumetric efficiency and dimensions of cylinder and isothermal efficiency, taking the index of compression and expansion as 1.25, and also show the cycle on PV diagram. So let us first plot the PV diagram and then discuss the numerical. In case of PV diagram, you can see this PV diagram. The inlet pressure is 0.97 bar, right? So this 4:1 indicates this air suction, right? For 1:2 indicates the compression process, and it is governed by PV raised to bar 1.25. That is the value of the polytropic index is 1.25. For compression and expansion it is 1.25, right? 2 to 3 indicates delivery. Now 3 to 4 indicates the expansion of this clearance volume. When the piston starts moving downward, initially the clearance volume will expand, and then the air from outer atmosphere will enter into the cylinder, right? So this expansion is also governed with the same law as that of compression. So it is PV raised to power 1.25 is constant, right? Now this clearance volume is given that it is equal to 5% of the swept volume. We can see this, the clearance volume is 5% of the swept volume. So it means that if we consider this as the swept volume, that is during that expansion of piston, the expansion of that air contained in the clearance volume, and then the suction of air from the outer atmosphere, this complete will be the swept volume, and this much volume is considered as to be equivalent to 5% of the swept volume, that will be equal to 0.05 of the swept volume, right? Now we were given that that the conditions of that this air is delivered 20 meter cube per minute when measured at free air conditions. So we'll be converting that much amount of volume into the actual conditions, which are 0.95 bar and 35 degrees centigrade, right? So initial pressure is 0.97 bar. So 0.97 bar is the initial pressure. T1 is 35 degrees centigrade, so in terms of Kelvin it is 308 Kelvin, and the compression ratio P2 by P1 is given as 7. RPM are 240, right? V3, that is the volume at the clearance the clearance volume, it is 0.05 of swept volume, right? Now the swept volume will be equal to, this total is V1 minus V3. So V1 will be equal to 1.05 Vs. That is the volume from this 0 level up to the 1 point. It will be 1.05 of the swept volume, right? Now for free air conditions of 1 bar 27 degrees centigrade, the mass of air delivered will be using this characteristic gas equation, PV is equal to mRT or M is equal to PV by RT. We can find out the mass of air delivered per minute, right? Now during the compression process, because it is a polytropic process, so it can be governed by this law. It is governed by this law, PV raised to power 1.25 is constant. Or for a polytropic process, we know the expression is T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 n minus 1 by n. So we can find out the temperature of the air at the second state, that is at the end of compression. So it is 454.54 Kelvin. It comes out to be this much. We can use this expression of polytropic relation we can use to find out the temperature at the end of compression, right? Similarly for expansion process, the similar relation. Now in terms of volume, we can find out V4 by V3 will be equal to P3 by P4 1 by n, and we can find out V4, that is the volume at the end of the expansion of that clearance volume. So V4 will be equal to, it comes out to be 0.273 of the swept volume, right? And V1 minus V4, that is this much volume, V1 minus V4, because V1 is 1.05 of swept volume minus 0.237 of swept volume, so it comes out to be 0.813 of the swept volume. That is this much volume, it is 0.813 of the swept volume. Now the volume of air corresponding to the suction conditions can be obtained using the volume of free air delivered. So basically that were the conditions of you can say we were given with the free air condition, right? But actually the inlet pressure is 0.97 bar, right? And we'll be converting that much volume into the actual conditions to determine the volumetric efficiency. So basically in this part, the relation, that is PV by T is equal to constant for an ideal gas. PV by T is equal to constant, so P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2. So if we are given with the volume of, V1 in terms of the free air condition, we can convert it into that of the actual condition, that is 0.97, right? So you can simply use the relation that P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2 to find out this volume of air delivered, considering it to be volume of air corresponding to the suction conditions can be obtained using the volume of free air delivered. So it has been converted into that actual volume, actual conditions. So the volumetric efficiency will be 0.768 swept volume by the swept volume, or the 76.8%. I will elaborate this part again. Just see that initially the free air conditions were given, that is at 1 bar and 27 degrees centigrade. So 27 degrees centigrade plus 273, it comes out to be 300 Kelvin, right? And we have seen that uh, the volume during suction was V1 minus V4, that is 0.813, right? So we'll be converting that much volume of 0.813 in terms of the free air conditions, that is at 1 bar and uh, 27 degrees centigrade, right? So that 0.813 terms of times of swept volume has been converted into the volume corresponding to the free air conditions. So we can use that expression P1 V1 by T1 equal to P2 V2 by T2 to find out the V for the free air conditions, and then we'll be dividing it with uh, the swept volume. So it will give us the ratio of 0.768 or the volumetric efficiency of 76.8%. Now in order to find out the dimensions of cylinder, the volume of air sucked in one cycle, volume of air sucked in a cycle now it is equal to 20 divided by 240. This will give us the air delivered per revolution, right? Because now it is a double acting, so further we'll be dividing it with 2, and this much will be the volume of air sucked in cycle, so 0.0208 meter cube per cycle, right? And this will be equal to the swept volume. So the swept volume per cycle is 0.028, and that should be equal to pi by 4 d square into L. So from this expression we are given with the ratio of d by L, that it is 1.2. So we can, instead of L we can use 1.2 d, and from this expression we can find out the value of d and L, right? Now the work required in reciprocating compressor, it is a polytropic process, so this will be the expression n by n minus 1 mr T2 minus T1. This expression has also been discussed in the previous lecture, right? So using these values we have determined the value of T2 and T1 was given, so we can find out the work required per minute, right? And dividing it with 60 and 0.7457, we can find out the value of work done in terms of horsepower, right? Now work required when compression is isothermal, only then we can find out the isothermal efficiency. So work required when compression is isothermal, so it is mRT1 log natural P2 by P1. So we can use these values and we can find out the value of work required for isothermal process, right? And this much horsepower will be required if the work done would have been done with an isothermal process, and this much is the work required if it is done with the polytropic process actually. So the isothermal efficiency is work done by isothermal divided by work done in case of this polytropic process. So dividing these two will be getting the value of isothermal efficiency, so 81.3%, right? Thank you. We'll be discussing the next topics soon. Take